new project. This week I'm going to be doing Burda 6254, and I'm going to be doing this view, which is view A, and I'm doing it in a super fun stars knit. All right, time to prep the pattern. Only 4 pieces, pattern pieces to make this, and I just ironed them all. I haven't completely finished cutting them out, so I'm going to do that next, and I'll show you the layout. All right, I'm laying out. I measured the center back of the garment before hem. It's about 28 inches, and I measured that on me. It's a little shorter than I'd like, so I have added 2 inches at the bottom of both pieces, and I did make sure that I had enough fabric before doing that. So I laid everything out. I did a cold run to make sure there was room to add 2 inches, and there is. So I'm going to cut out both bodice pieces. Then I have to unfold to cut out the little ruffle and the neck piece. Talk about just enough fabric. So this is the last little piece I'm cutting out, and this is the scrap I'm getting it out of so that it goes with the correct grain line. I do have a nice big wide scrap up here that I think I'm going to make that raglan top again and use this for a sleeve. So you might see this fabric show up again on a different outfit. Let's go over the steps we're going to follow to put together this top. The very first thing I'm going to do is, and I've done it on one already, this is the flounce, or the kind of the bottom of the sleeve. It's down here, the little gathered part. And we're going to run basting stitches in one end, one long side, so we can gather up our flounce. So I've already got one gathered and my center marked. So that's the first thing, is basting. The second step will be to sew the blouse together, sew the top together at the shoulder seams. Step 3 will be to attach the gathered flounce to the top. Step 4 will be to do the entire underarm sleeve. Step 5 will be the neckline casing. Step 6 will be serging off the hem edge, not serging off, finishing off with the serger, the hem edge of the sleeve and the bottom of the top. And the final thing that we're going to do, step 8, I believe, is use our double needle or our twin needle. Finally, we're going to use it in this video to finish our hems. So that's it, and it's a very, very, very fast project. I'm excited to get started. I'm going to finish my basting, and after that, I'm going to go ahead and do the shoulder seam, and I'll show you when I finish steps 1 and 2. I have both shoulder seams sewn, so here's my neckline. This is the shoulder, and I'm just pulling my seam allowance so that it folds to the back, putting a pin in it. And then I'm going to take one of my sleeves that has the basted edge, and I've marked my center of the sleeve. I just folded it in half like that. The pattern actually also has a marking. That's for my, to line up with the shoulder seam. And I'm going to pin it at each edge first, and I'm pinning about 5/8 inch in. You don't want your gathers to go beyond your stitching line, so I'm going to pin this like that, and then I'm going to pin this center on the seam like that, and now I'm ready to pull the gathers in. And the picture shows pretty even gathers around. You could do so all the gathers are sort of on top of your arm here, and you don't have as much on the underarm. You don't want to, you always want a little less fullness as a rule in the underarm area. The picture looks fairly even, and it's not a lot of gathers. So we're just going to gently pull. I have right sides together, and we're just going to make these match. Whoops. But don't pull it off like I did. We'll pin it a little better this time. So you can see my gather starting. We're just going to keep doing this till I get a nice even little ruffle going. And pin it, and then when we do, we'll pin it down. So theirs doesn't take very long. and we want these gathers to be pretty even, so, and they move easily. And that looks pretty good. Not perfect, but again, I want most of the gather, the fullest part to be on the top, a little less underneath. I'm just going to put some pins in to hold it. And then I'm going to do the other side of this sleeve, flip it around to do the other one, and we'll be ready to go to the machine. So the sleeves are now in the flounce. This is how it looks. I first basted them because there is a gather and because I'm searching off my seam allowance. I wanted to make sure I liked the gather and there were no mistakes before I got rid of my seam allowance. So this is how it's going to look. Isn't that cute? I've got both of them done. This one, I haven't serged yet, so this one's still just basted in. That's how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and serge that off. And then we're going to just flip this around. And right sides together, we're going to line up our underarm seam all the way down to the hem. Get this flipped around like this. We're going to pin this and serge it. Just like that, and we're going to have a shirt in no time at all. So fast. I love sewing with knits and I love projects like this. And I have to say, this weight knit is so lovely. I wish I'd bought more and I would have made this same pattern, but I would have lengthened it into a little tunicky dress. It would have been so cute. So I'm definitely going to make this again longer into a little dress. All right, we have a shirt. I've tried it on. Looks really cute. I'm very pleased with it. And the next thing I'm going to do is sit here at my serger and finish off my hem edges. And while I'm sitting here, I'm going to go ahead and do this little neck band. So the neck's super easy. All I have to do is serge together this little short edge. So I'm going to do that now. And again, 5/8 inch seam allowance. So here's my little neck band. Pardon me, that scissor was loud. Then we take our little neck band and we fold it in half all the way around. So we have a half tube like this. And now it's ready to attach to the neckline. And to attach it to this neckline, I always make sure that this seam is either at a shoulder seam or in the center back. Grab some pins here. All right, so we're going to pin it to the center back of my shirt. So I'm going to mark my center back. I always like to put it in the center back. I just think it makes it easy. I don't put tags in the clothes that I make for myself. As a rule, I'd rather not have a tag. And every chance I get, I don't want a tag. So this way, when I look at the shirt, and it's easy to tell front from back because of the neckline shape, but you can also tell where the seam line is, that's the back. So I'm going to match this up, raw edge to raw edge, right sides together. And because the band is folded in half, both sides are right side. You just have to pick one. And we're going to pin center front. Again, we're quartering, and then, or center back, I mean. And then we're going to pull this forward in half. This is going to be my center front. I'm going to put a pin in it. And I'm going to do the same thing with the shirt. In half. So I have the center of the front, and now I can take my little neckline and line them up like this. That pin was going through one of those little stars, and those stars are kind of sticky. Okay. So there's half the neckline, and then we're going to do the same thing at the shoulder. Now the shoulder isn't in half, so when I divide the band in half, that's easy. This is my half and half. But for the shirt, the back neckline is smaller than the front neckline. So we're going to line up our two pins and pull gently. You don't want to stretch. There's my halfway mark for my neckband. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the band. Make sure we're in half. Boop. And that's my halfway mark. So this we'll go to this. All right, once this is done, I'll just put a few more pins to hold all the layers together, like in between here, and serge around it. Okay, I have my neckline on. Cute, cute. There it is serged. Now this has 5/8 inch seam allowance, and I only did a 1/4 inch, and that's just so I'd have a larger neckband. But if you had done this to the 5/8 inch, you would have had, let's see if I can fold this real quick, a narrower neckline like this. So mine's wider, like that. Okay, so now we're going to spin, hopefully not make you dizzy. We're going to do our double needle. I've removed my original needle, my single needle. I haven't unthreaded my machine. This is just the thread hanging there from before. And so this is now installed. I have my bobbin. To do a twin needle, you need 2 spools of thread. So this is the thread I've been sewing with. This is the new one I'm getting ready to thread through the machine. And my sewing machine actually has a thing. You click the needle and then you tell it which needle you're using, a regular or a twin, and or even a triple. And then there's a lot of specialty needles. This is a super sharp, like a leather needle. And it'll tell you, make sure your foot is at least this wide. You can see I have a nice wide open toe. I also have a very wide hole in my throat plate. There are some sewing machines that are single stitch. They only straight stitch. You can't do a twin needle on those. You can't do a zigzag on those. So you have to make sure your machine will tolerate it. A 4.0 is about as large as you can do on most regular machines. If you have a specialty wide machine or a machine that does embroidery or some other things, you can get even wider needles, which is how far apart they are. This is a 4.0. That's how far apart they are. So I'm going to go ahead and thread up my needle, and then I'll show you how it stitches. Okay, I'm set up for my twin needle. This is what it looks like on my machine. There's my 2 threads. This is the little loop to keep the threads from separating and twisting and knotting up when they come into the machine. This is what it looks like where it comes out. All right, so here is the back. Here's the front. Here's the little twin needle stitch, so you can see the 2 threads right there. And I actually lined it up just right so that it actually just covered the edge of here's my little hem edge. It covered it, and you can see it makes a zigzag on the back, and it's stretchy. Look at how cute this is. Now I'll bring it up close and show you some of the details, like the finished hem, and we'll do some finished shots so you can see how it looks on. But fast, less than 3 hours to make this entire shirt, even with the ruffling and the other things on the sleeve. So I highly recommend this super fast, easy, cute pattern, and I will be making it again. This is the hem with the double needle or the twin needle. This is what it looks like from the back. And I also did it on the sleeve. And here's the neckline. This was such a fun, fast, easy project. And I'm actually considering making this pattern again, the same view, and not doing the ruffle. So we just sort of have a drop-shouldered t-shirt. Literally a 30-minute shirt if you were to make something like that. So I'm going to try that very soon, and I'll show you the finished garment. Get you some good still shots.